We set upon Harold's folly in relation to the creator of the track, Harold Barsington. I may have also butchered the name, my bad, but nowadays it is known as Darlington Raceway, the small little egg-shaped oval in South Carolina, where BPNR has their anticipated throwback race. But for today, it might as well be the Southern Knights 100. Whilst qualifying is ongoing, take a look at the point standings. We are inching closer towards the regular season finale. Delaprade has a comfy margin over Joshua Clements, then P3 occupied by Cole Rodriguez, then allowed P4. However, downwards towards the cutoff line, currently 8th place. Tyler Aziz, 9th place. William Gregory, and 10th place. Stephen Gibson, all within not a comfy margin, and they need to take it up a notch if they want to remain within the top 10. Nicholas Biddimlick and William Viola currently the two wildcard spots due to their race wins. Viola has 2, while Biddimlick has 1. Almost, qualifying is almost over, so might as well take a look. Jolene Sims looks to be on pole position. Gonna wait a few more seconds for this to go through. And it is confirmed. Jolene Sims, by 1/1000th of a second, ekes out pole award from Dunlap. Then it is Kirsten Bell and Tyler Aziz in row number 2, with Stephen Gibson and Landon Lau in row 3. Alexander Hunt and Jelani Howell in row number 4, with Skylar Den and Nicholas Biddimlick in row 5. Row 6 has Zach Armstrong and Cole Rodriguez, Joko Shonome, and William Gregory make up row 7, while row 8 has Brandon Carter and Daniel Rodriguez. Row 9 has Harry Crawford and Joshua Clements. Row 10, Rosa de la Cruz and Dylan Negron. Row 11, Cameron McGillies and Riley Trawick. And Dragons, he must have been there during qualifying, but he is, regardless, the final driver to set lap time in 23rd. Well, I presume Colin Teague is an off-track admin for tonight, so that leaves Carl Childress, Mathis Wells, Josh Muda, and William Viola to make up the 27 car grid for tonight. Got quite a bit, and like I mentioned, it is a throwback race, so got lots of throwbacks to talk about, really. I could make a whole stream just talking through them, but at least I got something to talk about when there isn't anything much going on. I'm only going to cover a couple of them for now, but this one you see being a Timothy Peters throwback by Harry Crawford. And, well, there's technically 2 of them. This one specifically being his 2015 campaign, where he would put up his career best truck results, I do believe. Having 2 wins that year, and for the final 8 races of that year, his worst finish was 6th place. And so Timothy was on a tear through the late stages of 2015. Unless he would go to a 5th place ranking at the end of the season. The other one is not here, that being Thomas Troxel, so, well, so they would have been twins if Troxel were here, but alas, he isn't. Stephen Gibson, one of those drivers who is hovering above the cut line for 10th place in the standings. He's got a Mark Martin throwback that's for tonight, this one being 2011 with the eBay Motors, when he was at Hendrick Motorsports. Gibson looks to be a good favorite. He's seen him plenty of times with the high tire degradation. I can't fucking speak down. Let's start over. Stevie Gibson, one of the favorites on these high tire degradation tracks, including this one. So we'll see how he does tonight. I'm gonna cover one more for now, and I just do the Skylar Dan as a Dale Jr. throwback. This one being the Orioles machine he drove in 2002 through the Busch series. So I'll bring up more throwbacks when we get there, but for now, let's just talk about Darlington. This particular version is built off the IFAR spec, so this is originally a TMB Darlington night track, but IFAR updated to fix geometry and provide us with more tire wear. So heavy emphasis on tire saving for tonight's race. But it's also really tricky on its own right, not just because of the lack of full throttle, but it's just a slippery track in general. I've seen a lot through practice where these drivers would self-spin, and especially on cold tires, and it's also mostly because of the grip plane. Turn 1, as you see Riley Trimmy go through, that is one of the toughest places to get it right. You need to set up turns 1 and 2 correctly, and that includes transitioning from high banking to low banking. It might be better if we ride on board with Dylan DeGrom as he goes through turn 1 this time. Give you an idea of what it's like. Well, he didn't do it that time, but underneath the dotted white line, there is less banking. Actually, turns 1 and 2 have that, so turn 1 and 2 extremely important. You can't make overtakes, but it has worked before. If anything, you more commonly will see these drivers utilize turn 2 speed to set up an overtake through turn 3. So happy hour has concluded, and we'll get into the race shortly. So we might as well start setting up for that. Should be a fun one. I've had good amount of experience here as a driver, and it's also a good practice session for some drivers because IFAR is slated to run Darlington this upcoming Saturday, so that will that should help him get back into the mojo of Darlington, if you will.
Drivers, to your cars.
So the 1.33 mile super speedway, as it kind of was at the time in 1950, given those slow speeds, but nowadays it's just more commonly referred to as the intermediate, given the speeds have excelled quite a bit since then. Anyway, a few more seconds for the engines to fire, and should get rolling.
Drivers, start your engines!
The engines have fired and we are rolling. Tonight's race is 100 scheduled laps, and the 105 you see on the ticker is because of a possibility of overtime. But regardless, this is a 2x rare race and Cup physics. So as the base car heads in, it shall be Jolene Sims and Donna Brad on the front row. It's going to be tricky going through turns 1 and 2 side by side, especially on the start, but we are underway from Darlington. Already seeing a bit of 3 wide through the spectator cam, especially toward the mid pack. You want to get settled in as quick as you can, and that is going to be Rosa de la Cruz going for a single car accident. And they'll have an early hindrance to their race. Meanwhile, Jolene Sims has cleared down Pratt and will lead the opening lap. LaPrat's actually fallen down to fourth as there's a battle for second place. Steven Gibson versus Kirsten Bell, and Gibson will take over the spot. Got one here, that being Nicholas Bedimla going for fifth place on Jelani Howell. And it's going to be an easy position, and he makes up two positions through one set of corners. He also makes through Dunlap Pratt, and that is Riley Trewick stopped, and it's going to be a reset. Just oh, okay, I was gonna look back at Riley Trewick, but they have called for a reset.
Drivers,
According to Zach Armstrong, driver at number 90, the 97's game froze, and that's why they were just stopped in the middle of the racing line. Selby tries again, helps out Rosa de la Cruz after their self spin on the opening lap. Waiting on the front row to queue in, there's Jolene and there's Dunn. Running warmer tires because this is clear 70 weather and it's static, so naturally when you spawn in, you have 160 degrees of tires. The longer you sit waiting for the race to start, the colder your tires will get, and for the front row cars, they want to get away from the pack as early as they can, and warmer tires will especially help them do so. So we try again. Might as well remind y'all, 100 laps, scheduled distance, overtime is possible, 2x rare, and it is cup physics. Pace car heads in. Sims, LaPrade on the front row on this narrow track in South Carolina. Into the restart zone. Green flag is out. We are back on the way from Darlington. Everyone taking a little bit cleaner through one, at least for now. So nearly a wreck that included Jelani, and there was nearly one there by me Skylar Den, but William Gregory is the ultimate loser in that one, and he is going to add insult to injury, and that is a big wreck out of turn 4. That involves Joshua Clements. Okay, Rosa de la Cruz involved again, and that'll be another redo. They can't get, well, they made it further the first time round, but, well, oh boy. It is a tricky place, especially on the stars, but, so I don't really blame them for using a second reset. And just waiting. Here we go. Finally resets.
drivers, to your cars.
Might as well get a couple more throwbacks in, if I could find one. Let's do Chuko Shunome, who has had this car for a little bit this season, but this is in reference to Kurt Busch's 2012 campaign. He did majority of that season with Phoenix Racing before parting over to Furniture Row Racing in the number 78 to finish out that season, as well as his full-time season with that team for 2013. At the Outlaw, as they call them, or they used to. I'm presuming they're waiting on me because I'm not queued up.
Drivers, start
Uh,
your engines!
oh well, they have to suffer. Try this one more time. Third time's a charm, right? The pride I've just been noticing, especially in that first start, you've been taking it really cautious, so I wonder if that's just part of the game plan, is just to not get into any early trouble. Sims versus the Prad into the restart zone. Third time's a charm. We are underway from Darlington. Sims is going to clear for the lead. They're nearly 4 wide back there. You think after 2 resets, you know what you're doing, and that is going to be a single car spin once again. This time, Zach Armstrong. And there's another wreck. Oh, it falls the ground. Got dragons included. Got Shiranome. Rosa de la Cruz. And Skylar Den. Ah, and there's another reset.
Drivers, to your cars.
At this point, if this occurred in Gnarl, they will just switch it over to single file start and start the race with a caution cooldown, so it wouldn't hurt to try that here, especially at a track like this. So coming through my intercoms through TeamSpeak, Lanalao being our primary official tonight, they're going to do an extra lap, so a formation lap if you will, to get the field single foul for the initial start. They could also just do that now, but perhaps it's safer to take an extra lap. I don't believe it will take off a lap, meaning it would be a 99 lap race, but I don't know if that is the case. We do have 5 extra laps of the scheduled 100 for overtime, so perhaps it won't hurt to use part of that. So it's going to be a single file start. And 97 has stopped again. Yeah, going to be probably a retirement at this point because I don't know. The issue Treywick is having tonight really sucks for her. Really sucks for her, what I meant to say. So single foul this time for the initial start. Jolene Sims has no one by her side and will have a clear vision into turn 1. And we are green, green, green. And yet they're still wanting to try 3 wide towards the back. Out of the pits is Riley Traber. She had a forced crash her game, so she'll be allowed to rejoin at tail end and be put back on the lead lap. And there goes Brandon Carter for a spin. And it's only going to be a single car, so no caution. Back up front, Jolene Sims. Unchallenged so far, Dylan Pratt keeps second place. Kirsten Bell and Tyler Z's third and fourth. So at least they get a green flag lap in now. They did that in the initial start, but a wreck on the second lap, or the third lap rather, has forced it to reset, and that will be Alexander Hunt going for a spin. And Brandon Carr just hits him. You'd think with how slow he's spinning you would avoid him, but I don't know. Ow. I'm dumbfounded. But regardless, I don't believe they'll trigger a caution, so we keep on checking. Come Cole Rodriguez, this is for 7th place. Angelini Howell. Oh, a little tight entering 3, and that forces Howell into the wall. And running a Steve Park livery, that would be from 2000. If I could find my notes, 2003 from Steve Park. And there's a spin apparently, so now it included Yugo Shimonome as the only car, as both these 101 and 49 entered the pit lane, likely for damage repair. Hate to do it this early, but you still got 95 coming to 94 laps now under your belts to bank on yellows and get yourself back in the lead lap. So top 10 have broken off into their pack, but Dim like 11s is a little ways back. So you're starting to see different ideas of how much to save and or when to do it. And July almost smacked the wall. It's very easy to burn up your tires this early into the race. But that will reel the 66 on crew back towards the top 10. Okay, Alexander Hunt just coming out of the pit lane. And he's going to stay out of the way. He needed to potentially get a win to get himself into the chase, but unfortunately that may not happen right now at least, because he has just gone 2 laps down, pretty sure. 3 down. So he needs to get extremely lucky. He needs to find some race-winning speed, but that one of those cautions will come out right now. And Cam McGilvery's and Mantis Bells. There's at turn 2. And they do field frozen at here at Darlington, much reminiscent to Dover a couple weeks ago. So it'll be Jolene Sims who wins the race back. It's gonna be Kirsten Bell second, Steven Gibson in third. Take a look at the replay once I grab it. Oh, the 20 gets hit into turn 1 by Rosa de la Cruz and Cam McGilvey. Not really having anywhere to go, just kind of just plows into it. Might be better to judge if we go on board with him. So that will trigger our first caution flag of the evening. And a few cars staying out. Majority will take their trip to the pit lane for the first time. Going to be 4 tires from everyone as far as I can tell. Jolene wins out of the pit lane, Bell second, Gibson third, so top 3 remaining unchanged. See, those who stayed out, Cruz, Brandon Carter, Treywick, and Hunt, all of them are lapped, so they're gonna rely on the wave around to get 1 additional lap back, put themselves closer to the lead lap. All of them with their various issues. I believe there's 1 retirement, 2 of them actually. Gary McElreys and Rosa de la Cruz have called it a night. Anyway, talking about Treywick with their connection issues. And that's why she is 7 laps down currently, but they should have been put on the lead lap, but I don't know if that will come to fruition just yet. So the 3 of them have taken a wave as Brandon Carter hits the 97. But Treywick with a Kurt Busch livery, this one being from 2003, the same livery he lost this race in. Not been sub the 500, I should specify, but the spring race. Or was I forgot honestly if this was a time when Darlington only had 1 race a year instead of 2. I may have forgot. But I do have reports that normally we would have a choose cone, but I believe for tonight we are not going to be utilizing it. So every restart will be single file. Okay, I was apparently wrong. They're going to try it, a choose cone this time, but if it doesn't work, then it's going to be single file for the remainder of the race. If the initial start has anything to teach us, it's probably not going to work. So Sam's on the outside, this will be interesting. Well, if they went double file, which we've seen in previous start attempts, she lined up on the inside as the game interpreted. But she has control from the outside. She's going to see how this works. Okay, Kirsten Bell beside. It'll be Gibson and LaPrade in row 2, with Lyle and Cole Rodriguez row 3. Then it is Tyler Aziz and Dino Rodriguez in row 4. And I believe that's Harry Crawford and Jelani Howell in row 5. And those are your top 10. Currently lap 13. Under caution, about to go green this lap. And the field will be in the hands of Jolene Sims. She's led every lap so far from pole position. And the pace car hits in. into the restart zone. And we are back on the way. The bell gets clear for a moment, but Gibson is going to slide in inside through turns 1 and 2, trying to complete the pass per second, and he will do so. Behind, though, it'll be Cole Rodriguez on the outside of Daniel Rodriguez. That'll be good defense for the 91 car. Just pushing the 3 down the front stretch. As the field now goes single file, just early wrecks, you want to get them out of the way, and at any point, a short run could turn into a long run, where tires are going to be the biggest factor. Kirsten Bell just not having a good restart. She restarted on the inside front row, and she is back down to 6th, so she didn't have a good launch, and possibly just cold tires are the ones to blame. Julian Hama trying to defend against Holland Z, stepping for 8th, and he does so into turn 3, and he's going for a spin, but he saves it. Zach Armstrong did not, and neither did William Gregory. And we'll include others with Skylar Den and Nicholas Bedimlik. So under our second caution period of the night, Jolene Sims wins the race back, with Gibson 2nd and LaPrade 3rd. So we saw what happened with Jelani live, so what happened with Zach? Oh, he got clipped by Jelani. And that's why he spun it. He had nothing to do with the additional cars that got collected. Let me find Gregory, there he is. There's smoke. Gregory's trying to slow down. He spins in front of 97 and shoots back up towards the 19 of Jelani Howell. Skylar Den also having nowhere to go on that. So we already got a good, healthy amount of wrecked race cars, which really sucks for those people. But we do have takers in the pit lane. Going to be Kirsten Bell, who wins off the pit lane. Oh, dead even for second. Might as well look at that. It was Gibson across the line, but it depends on what the game dictates. Trying to find the cars that stayed down. Those include Alexander Hunt, Matt Isbells, and Brandon Carter. I'm pretty sure all of them are lapped. Yes. Well, 2 of the 3 are, I believe. No, all of them are lapped. But the 20 Amantis Bills, who now opts for the pit lane, would be tail end of the lead lap. The 20 you saw there, but they heavily damaged race car, especially in the rear. You want rear end stability at a track like this. Kirsten Bell, as well as Thomas Johnson and Colin Teague, which I presume are going to run in tomorrow's race in Division 2. All 3 of them have collaborated on a general throwback. This has nothing really to do with NASCAR, but rather a BPNR driver. Fast Nike 8 was one of the first Bass Pro Shops racing drivers ever. It literally did the first race back in 2021 when that was a road racing league. And he quickly became part of the friend group outside of the league during 21 and 22. But his parents made him delete Discord sometime in 2022, so he was forced into his disappearance. So Houston, Colin, Teague, the few people to remember him. The funniest part is provided by the notes by Colin Teague is he made his custom paint schemes on mobile. They were pretty bad, but very funny, and had a lot of heart. So Kirsten Bell, the only driver in this race to run that throwback, and she currently now leads the race. As they approach the choose cone, she's going to choose outside, much like Jolene did on the previous caution. And those notes were provided by Colin Teague, our league owner, so he knows a lot about that person more than I do, so I can't really comment on that. So it'll be Kirsten Bell versus Jolene Sims on this ensuing restart, completing lap 20. Then it is Steven Gibson and Donna Pratt in row 2, Daniel Rodriguez and Cole Rodriguez row 3, Harry Crawford and Joshua Clements in row 4, with Zach Armstrong and Dylan Legrand in row 5. So pace car is going to head in, concluding our second caution period. The field is in the control of Kirsten Bell in the Peugeot. Into the restart zone. We are back on the way. The 29 did not get going. That allowed Jolene Sims to get a push from Steven Gibson back into the lead. And that separates the top 3 already into a single file train. Nearly a wreck back there. I saw following the dodge of Landon Lau. And trying to fight his way forward after receiving a black flag during this caution period. Got Treywick back on the lead lap in 11th at the last scoring loop, so she must have figured out her issue, or at least has neutralized it, and now she is back to racing. We're trying to do what Kurt Busch couldn't in 2003 at this very track. Side by side, this is for 5th, Donna Pratt defending against Daniel Rodriguez. And it must be a little bit frustrating for Daniel Rodriguez because Kirsten Bell directly ahead of these two, not really giving him any favors, but finally the 65 clears and he is into the top 5. Take a look towards the back. William Gregory with rear end damage after getting collected and at least one caution this evening, running the Nelson PK Jr. throwback, with this one being from 2012 when he competed in the Truck Series. good amount of stragglers back here. That fortunately Nicholas Bedimic is one of them. Or he could just be taking a long run approach and just let the field burn up their tires and have a net gain by the time the long run ends. That's assuming it includes green flag pit stops. I saw smoke, but nothing really. No wreck has occurred as far as I know. Sideways out of the corner, Harry Crawford. And he's going to have dragons on his outside. N23. This is for 11th, or 10th rather. Crawford clears. Sony blinking. It's not going to look too good for Zach Armstrong, but he's going to get out of this way as soon as he can. Same with Scarlett Den. And now the Sony has a little bit of space to hopefully calm down. Oh, one on the wall, that is Cole Rodriguez. I don't know where he went. He probably fell out. Yes, he did, probably, so... Really sucks. He was in the top 10 prior to that. But whilst we were checking all that, Daniel Rodriguez has found himself the race lead. Going to quickly see how that occurred. I want to presume it's because of the wreck Cole had. Yep, Cole just went up and forces Jolene to slam on the brakes, and that gave him the lead, but caution is out. Third one of the evening. Pulling a fox brain here. Who did wreck? That's actually a good question, but regardless, Cole Rodriguez wins the race back. Entering turn 3. This is Jelani Howell. He hit that paint grip lane down there and sent him sideways, leaving Gregory nowhere to go. That includes Brandon Carter and Nicholas Bedimlik. The driver I thought was going to try a long run game. He looked to be that way, but you never know when a wreck ends up in the butt end of the field. We're on board with the 66 car. Yeah, nothing really Bedimlik could do there. Might as well fix this too, because it looks a bit goofy. Bedimlik looking really slow, and it's only gotten worse for the Carl Edwards inspired throwback. This one, the silver car from 2010. Out of the pit lane, Daniel Rodriguez wins off with Sims second, Gibson third. So only 30 laps in, and we haven't had a truly green run. The best we can muster is, I want to say 12 laps. So each drivers may turn up the ante and get a bit more aggressive. 3 cars stay out once again. I feel like I'm just a broken record. That being Brandon Carter, Alexander Hunt, and Carl Rodriguez opting to take the wave around. Never mind, it'll be Carl Rodriguez who pits, but because he fell out, he's likely going to be put back in the lead lap. Meanwhile, Johnny Howell has retired from the race, making that retiree number 3. race leader, Daniel Rodriguez, has honestly an interesting throwback. I just love him for how creative he is as a paint scheme maker. He goes above and beyond on anything he does and showcases out to the NR community. But this one's really creative. This is in reference to Ken Block Gymkhana, um, number 10. This was released in 2018 as a short film released on the Hoonigan YouTube channel. And I've never seen a Gymkhana before. Gymkhana is a kind of like a point-to-point race where you go from point A to point B, much like rally, but they are obstacles in a way. This was originally derived from horse racing, but it has found its way to motorsports. So, what Ken Block was doing donuts, going through tight spaces, pretty much anything you would find in rally or WRC, for example. But more as a fun little expertise thing, and it's something Ken Block really enjoyed when he was alive. I recommend giving that any of the Gymkhanas posted by Hooligan who that feature Ken Block. I give them a watch. They're really fun. But I had to choose Gun Commences. Once again, we see the race leader choose the outside lane for the restart. So, Daniel Rodriguez, Jolene Sims on the inside once again. So she is just trying to find a good launch point to potentially stay side by side with the race leader and get herself back in the lead. Excuse me. It'd be Kirsten Bell and Stephen Gibson, row 2. Joshua Clements and Dylan Pratt, row 3. Dylan Grant and Harry Crawford, row 4. Treywick and Armstrong, row 5. And Cole Rodriguez has been put back on a lead lap, but he'll have to restart from the rear. So control car is the 65, the dark Toyota Camry on the outside. If we are back on the way, he does not get a good launch. So Jolene Sims once again will get the lead into turn 1. Steven Gibson looks to follow in second and will do so. Meanwhile, there's going to be an exchange for fourth potentially. Joshua Clements continuing the theme that Seven Hills All Sport has been doing, running Red Horse Racing inspired liveries. I didn't have the time to look up who this one was in reference to, but regardless, he moves himself up to fourth place. Clements trying to crack down on the points lead. Dunlap Pratt has mustard. Did I see a spin back there? No, it's just Carl being slow per usual, but anyway. Gibson trying for second, unable to do so, but he has actually lost second to D-Dog. And he's going to let Clements go for third. So Gibson at this point is trying to think long term. In theory, you could make this a one-stop strategy, assuming these drivers put their helmets on right and continue the rest of the way without a caution. So, like I mentioned, Gibson, one of those drivers who does very well on tire degradation tracks. So, letting these people go and trying to save his tires so he can better utilize them in the later portions of the stint. He comes for the lead. It'll be Daniel Rodriguez, but unable to get there. Turn 1 is just a tricky place to make an overtake work. See Smug, we have a spinner. And that'll be the 13 of Skywarden, judging from their previous lap time. And Dylan Pratt out of nowhere. Now he's up to the outside of Clemens, trying to make a move for third, while Daniel Rodriguez tries again for the race lead. Jolene Sims gets intimidated, put into the wall. No contact, actually, as far as I know. But she'll lose the lead. Here comes Gibson trying to force a way for third. Dylan Pratt did find his way around Clemens for second, and Clemens is gonna have to be the short end of the stick once again. All the scrabble has led Dylan DeGron into P5, the Mackenzie-inspired livery. This was his dish livery from when he was bushbacking in the Bush Series in 2007, to be exact. LaPrade into the wall. That will give Gibson second. It's just these mistakes are starting to show from very experienced drivers. I'm just baffled from it. But that little mistake will not stop LaPrade. He's going to try the inside for second. Gibson's boxed in by Daniel Rodriguez in the middle of the corner, giving LaPrade a better chance to clear, and he will. Bit of a stack up entering 3, and now see Kirsten Bell sliding her rears, trying to save the car, and she will do so. Oh, that's right, Treywick in the wall, but she's going to remain side by side, bounces off the wall in 2, and she'll lose more positions. I'm pretty sure I mentioned Lane Allows throwback, just in case I didn't. This is a reference to Jeff Burton in the year 2000. Still got quite a bit of throwbacks to check through. Alexander Hunt, back on the lead lap after an early wreck. He needs to find his way forward to put himself in winning ways, just like Justin Haley did when he had this livery that Alexander Hunt inspired on to win at Talladega in 2017 in the ARCA division. Check back towards the front, and LaPrade has the lead now with Rodriguez second. I'm really missing these lead changes, huh? It kinda just a quirk with me. I don't know why that is. And Crawford, P6 now. Or 7 rather. Trying to get closer to Jolene Sims up the road. Nice little onboard lap from the 76 camera. Here comes Jolene Sims for 5th. Up against Dylan Negron. And probably could get 2 for 1, but Clements gets his car corrected after scraping the wall a little bit through the apex. And, well, for now, Jolene Sims is back into the top 5. So points leader Dylan LaPrade, 5 laps to go until the halfway. There's no caution for it, but we do see championship points given out. As if Dylan LaPrade needs any more points. Like, Jesus. But he, along with the remainder of the top 5, will get points. I heard someone over the team speak. Land allow on the apron, and according to him, it is an RNG failure, so that is not what he wanted to see. Meanwhile, Mantis Wells in the pit lane. Bit of scrap here for, I believe this is 15. Nicholas Bedimna gave it a pass. Dragons for that position. Brandon Carter trying to do the same, but to no avail at the exit of turn 2. A bit of wall bouncing for 78. Don't know if that's giving him any advantage. Skylar then passes Brandon Carter, does that for position as the 23 is lapped, 2 laps down. But he's trying to make the most out of the situation. Carl Childress gets lapped in a Ralph Earnhardt car. Not doing the Earnhardt name any justice, but bros a bandwagon. He literally makes every type of Earnhardt livery possible, whether it be Ralph Earnhardt, Dale Sr., Dale Jr. He's probably made a livery for at least one league. Spin the front stretch, that'll be Dragons on the apron in turn 1, but he is out of the way for the leaders as they take in the final lap for the halfway. Again, a no caution will come. So this is just a matter of points. The top 5 have actually checked out, so it'll be solidified, but who gets points? It's just a matter of how many. All I'm trying to put the pressure on the 65 was Stevie Gibson, and that he had forced to back off and scared Joshua Clemens, forced to back off, but it'll be Dunlap Brad who wins the halfway, gets himself 15 bonus points. Dan Rodriguez gets 12 points by finishing 2nd. Stevie Gibson, 9 points for 3rd. Jolene Sims, 6th place, 6 points for 4th place, if I can speak. And Joshua Clements, 3 points for the final position. Had to take a drink, hydrate, as here's an exchange for the lead. Steven Gibson, likely with better tires to use, he's going to clear the Prad as we are over halfway here at Darlington. This is BPNR season number 8, race number 9, as we are closing in on the chase. As you saw the exchange for the lead, and we also ran through the top 5. Let's look back at Dylan Legrand in 6th. Eric Crawford in 7th, Zach Armstrong P8 as the pit stops are ongoing. Tyler Aziz in 9th, and Alexander Hunt completed the top 10 for now. We do see some pit stop, that being Brandon Carter and Dragons, as well as William Gregory in this lap. Get that thing off the road, bruh. 4 DNFs, that being Lyle being the most recent, with Jelani Howell, Cam McGarry, and Rosa de la Cruz all with race damage. Currently 16 cars on the lead lap. So as for the lead lap cars, they haven't exactly hit their pit window yet, but I do suspect with the field load being 37 laps, the most a driver can do, pit stops are around the window. They restart on lap 30 if I'm correct, so that's a pretty tight margin on making a one-stop strategy possible. For most, with enough experience at this particular Darlington variant, it should be no trouble. I want to look back at Armstrong, who's 8th place. According to him during practice, he just wasn't comfortable during a long run. So to him to be in the top 10, while he is losing time to the leaders, he's at least doing better than what he suspected. And by pitting it, track position is so important here. Just who is the first to bite? We commonly see Tyler Aziz being the first of the drivers to hit pit lane as early as they can and make an undercut, as he just made the pass on right trailback, both of them scraping the wall. That'll be for P9. And both of them bounce off the wall. And that forces back Alexander Hunt, allowing Skyden to make it through. He is a lapped car. But Dimling has been really quiet after his wreck. So he's now back up to 10th. Yeah, pretty good for him. As for Aziz, trying to embrace his inner Martin Truex Jr. Well, this is his 2017 livery, according to him. But you could argue it could be from any year when Furniture Road Racing was active. It doesn't really matter who was the driver. Brandon Carter back down the pit lane. Must have been an issue, or he might have spun and needed tires again. A couple more lap cars, that being Carl Childress, who just entered the pit lane, or is about to, and Joe Schmuda up the road. Joe Schmuda has an interesting take on the definition of throwback. So, this would normally be his Anubis car, but Anubis car, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's actually slightly altered to now include barcodes where you see at the side. So this is in reference to a weird period for F1 where teams were have a sponsorship censorship, as I'm trying to call it. The simplest way, without going on for too long, is that F1 had a tobacco ban that was enforced starting in 2006, but some countries, especially those in Europe, had already done that. They've already enforced their own tobacco bans. So, whenever F1 visited their countries, teams would have to exchange any tobacco sponsors for these barcodes, which, if the car were going fast enough, it would give out a motion blur and pretty much spell out the logo they were trying to advertise. I mean, you can say it's an optical illusion traveling at 200 miles per hour. And that's what Joe Schmuda tried replicating here. Gibson has checked out a little bit now, posting half a second latest in time, but it's now upgraded to double the time between himself and the Pratt. You see Tyler Aziz down the pit lane. Jolene Sims is not going anywhere, however, for second. And Cole Rodriguez out of the pit lane also. He was just put back on lead lap after falling out the previous run. And he's trying to redeem himself from having to start at the rear. But Jolene Sims makes the exchange for second. At Treybeck down the pit lane, she has heavy passenger side damage, and she's been knocking the wall down quite a few times. The track Too Tough to Tame is nicknamed that for a reason. That idea for Aziz to having to cut through traffic like this for to be an IMSA race, but he's making good use of those fresh tires. Joshua Clements enters the pit lane. He was within the top 5. And this is right around the window where you could theoretically make it on fuel. Got a car off too. That beat doing the grunt. He was 6th place. So he's gonna have to make a preemptive stop on top of losing time. Got 2 down the pit lane. Kirsten Bell closing in on Daniel Rodriguez. D-Dog either took it too cautiously or he has some sort of issue. I see him limping a little bit. He must have probably has a tire down. With Dunlap Pratt up the road from them also pits this lap. Clemens out the pit lane, so that through the pit cycle. You start to see how much track position is really beneficial. Mattis smells smacking the wall. I don't know what that's about. Got one on the apron, that being Zach Armstrong down the pit lane. Really good long run stint from him. He's going to peel in into the pit lane from 5th place. Trying to stretch as long as he can without blowing a tire. Trying to find a fine line of when to pit versus, excuse me, trying to pit as late as you can without losing too much time. Although I like to argue that because the leader's on lap 69 now, that would mean the longer you can go, the better your odds are, especially with the amount of laps that are still left, as Jolene Sims has the race lead currently trying to stretch her stint to the longest possible second, as she will flock down the pit lane. Nicholas Bedimlik, 2nd place, and he's going to stay out to lead 1 lap at minimum. Who is 3rd? That's 21 of Gibson. And he's just exited, so that would mean LaPrade, I believe, has the provisional race lead with a big margin at that. Gotta find almost a full straightaway to what would be 2nd place of Joshua Clements, and then just out of pit lane, Gibson 3rd. Bedimlik down the pit lane on lap 70. And Jolene Sims exiting her box. She's going to lose a lot of time, but her bet is to utilize the 5-ish better tires that she has on her car to make up the lost time in the final 30 laps. P2, so Bedimlik has just pitted, so now I believe the pit cycle has concluded. So Shelby Dunlap-Pratt leading this time with Joshua Clemens P2, Stephen Gibson in 3rd. Gotta find Jolene Sims in 4th. Cole Rodriguez in 5th. Maybe Bradley Trewick in 6th. Kirsten Bell in P7. Daniel Rodriguez in 8th. Zach Armstrong in 9th. And just fresh out of the pit lane is Nicholas Bedimlik in 10th. Assuming it's correct. It is. Okay. And right as we have just completed the cycle, the caution is called. Got wreck on the front stretch involving Joe Schmuda. And Benny Gregory sitting next to the inside wall. Tyler Aziz also collected. Oh boy. it's going to be William Gregory who starts this. Really slow on the top. It's already damaged. Did he get loose? Very strange. We'll check with the onboard with the 14 card here. Yes, he did. He just barely got loose, spun the rears outward, and spun back down towards Talaziz. And Joe Smith had nothing to do with it, so my apologies. But all the lead lap cars, as far as I can tell, entering the pit lane. Try and make this the final pit stop of the race. Who gets out first? It'll be LaPrade, Gibson second, Joshua Clements third. And there are quite a bit of lap cars that stay out. And I got confirmation actually that all lap down cars get 1 lap back no matter what. So doesn't matter whether or not they pit, they can take the wave around. But all of them will flock down the pit lane this lap, because they weren't allowed to do so the first time. We do have one lead lap car that stayed out. That is Nicholas Dimlick, the latest of the lead lap cars that pitted. And he believes track position is important, and his tires aren't that worn. So he's going to inherit the lead here with 26 to go as they cross the line behind the safety car. Gonna check through my list here of throwback mentions. I believe I've done everyone now. Just excluding those who aren't present tonight. And yeah, I did mention everyone, so weh. I guess it's somewhat of a throwback for Jolene Sims. This is her iFi car that, if you watch She's Food Media and most importantly, look through the iFi broadcast, she hasn't been present there lately. That's because she's suspended over there. But I do believe that she has cleared her suspension now, so she'll be allowed to race again. Just now, she'll practically have to win the regular season finale at Darlington to get into the chase. So wave arounds ongoing, and it should be everyone, so choose cone. But Dimlick chooses inside the first time the race leader doesn't choose the outside, trying to favor defensive position into turn 1. So 3 cars of the way through. Now it is 18 cars on the lead lap, 21 of them still in the race, with 5 DNFs, Brandon Carter being the most recent. So a bit confusion for Zach Armstrong. So Zach is going to line up 5th in line on the outside. Just different interpretations of choose cones between leagues. BPNR being merciful you may hit the orange painted cone on the racetrack, but not the yellow visible cone. So he'll have to find his way out of that trenches, if you will. It was Bedemlik, leading us with 24 laps remaining into the restart zone. Back on the way, he pulls out of the way. Stuck in third gear, and he just surrendered the lead over to Dylan Pratt, and he's going to have to bear witness to Steven gets it going for a spin, and that'll be a caution. Really bizarre. Very bizarre restart there. Dylan Pratt is going to win the race back with Joshua Clemens second and Jolene third. So Bedemlik already peeling out of line. On the inside, he has control, but he just doesn't go. He just remains in third gear, as I see his telemetry. But I suppose it played a saving grace for him as he saw a wreck towards the front. Actually see how that occurred. And Clem, I mean real. I have no idea. It's kind of just a entry now I see it. Now I can slow it down. So Clements washes up and doors the 21 of Gibson. So I'm sure that's not what Clements had in mind, but he gets second place out of it. After being battered down from race wins 2 weeks in a row now, the past 2 weeks he was robbed of the win at Dover during overtime. And just last week at Riki Raceway, his partners got collected in a wreck and that shuffled him out during the final lap. So caution number 5, and this is the quickest the caution flag has been called. So no one opts the pits here, as far as I know. I presume Gibson's the only pitter due to his spin. So he'll restart at the rear. It's going to be choose cone this time. He will be restarting with 20 to go. And most recent reports, 14 car of Thailand Aziz, he doesn't have third gear. And is really needed on these restarts. He's towards the back, so any hope of him gaining positions in the short run will not suffice. So, coming to 20 laps to go of the scheduled 100 laps, it'll be Dunlop Prad with the control. Joshua Clemens second. Front row made up of the top 2 in points, and there's Jolene Sims and Cole Rodriguez, P3 and 4 respectively. Kirsten Bell and Riley Trewick, row 3, with A. Crawford And Daniel Rodriguez, row 4. Into the restart zone. Back green at Darlington. Nearly an even launch, but the Pred barely spins the tires enough to nearly lose the lead to Clemens, but they're going to remain side by side. And Clemens with the run on the outside, not clear just yet. Gonna get through turns 3 and 4, a tighter radius compared to turns 1 and 2. And he is going to get the race lead. And bound for second, LaPrat gives up the spot to Cole Rodriguez. And he's trying to duke it out with Jolene now for third, only to lose that position. So from first to fourth in just 2 laps, Dylan Pratt probably still thinking that there's still plenty of laps to make use of tires in the final laps. But here comes Cole Rodriguez, thinking the exact opposite. He wants the track position now. And he'll get the race lead after falling out of the server early on. The 91 car to the front. LaPrat making a charge back up the front now. You're going to be just behind Clemens for third. He still gets beat by Jolene Sims for that position. Aggressive move to the inside down the backstretch is Joshua Clements. And a little slippery down there. He's going to lose a little bit of speed through the apex. And now he's going to have to try to defend it against Dylan Pratt. But it's to no avail. Number 3 back up to second. Got one on the wall, that being Kirsten Bell. And Clemens now is just really falling off a cliff. And he needs to get back up there sooner rather than later. I mean, Steven Gibson, he wrecked just 10 laps ago. And now he is back up to 5th. It just made the overtake for 4th, actually. This man is on a mission like he were a missile. And I've been neglecting to check fastest lap times, actually. That goes to Alexander Hunt in the 489 car. He may win something, but maybe not a race win. Fastest lap will probably do. Trying to compare lap times. I believe it is Jodie Sims, who, out of the top 4, has posted the fastest lap. But right now, she's not really doing herself any favors. Actually, the slowest out of these 4, 29.9. My throat is clogging up. I don't know why. Trying to hydrate as much as I can. Back here, Clement is just still losing positions, scraping a wall, and now he's side by side with Dylan Negron, trying to defend his 2nd or 7th place rather. He'll be able to do so, but nearly at the cost of Harry Crawford, trying to make a 3-wide move down the backstretch, but that will be interrupted. Back at the front. LaPrat trying to get win number 4 of the season. Got a good run. but doesn't utilize it. Still got 10 more laps as they cross the finish line. And 10 to go from Darlington. Checking on the scramblers back here. Quite a bit of wall smack says, now's the time to just use what you got. No real points of saving in their minds. And all of them stringing single file, being led by Riley Trewick in 5th. What a day she's had. Just a roller coaster. The top 4 have broken off, but here comes Clemens trying to rally back up. Trying to get 5th place away. 97 going for a crossover. Going to have the inside, but the 92 has the speed from the top, and it'll be solidified. Towards the front, got jump. 27 is going to go for a spin. And at turn 2. And she's going to get hit hard, and a major wreck down the back stretch. One of them ended up in the infield, that being Kirsten Bell. And this will turn the race on its head. Cole Rodriguez wins the race back, with Stephen Gibson 2nd. Dylan Pratt 3rd. So Jolene was the domino to tip this off. She braces the wall, and in an effort to try to get corrected, she turns back down and spins. And unfortunately, nowhere for many of these drivers to go. She's stuck sideways on a racing line. And one with the heaviest hits, Kirsten Bell and Daniel Rodriguez. And Bell finds herself at the nowadays unoccupied side of the pit lane. Zach Armstrong probably has a good look at this. Trying to see my data I get to see. That Hoonigan machine unfortunately takes flight. And that was just a massive wreck. And I believe Kirsten Bell retired from the race. Yes, she has. So, very unfortunate for the 29 team. So that leaves 20 cars on track. Joe Shimuda is 2 laps down. 78 of Dragons, 1 lap down. So with 5 laps to go under caution, it is Cole Rodriguez, your race leader, Stephen Gibson 2nd, Dylan Pratt in 3rd, Joshua Clements in P4, Riley Trewick in 5th, Zach Armstrong in 6th. Tyler Z's P7, Juko Tsunome P8, Skylar Den in P9, and Alexander Hunt completing the top 10. Still trying to sort through the order. I believe we are going to do the choose cone this lap, so that will set up a 3-lap shootout. I'm gonna check. Well, I might as well quickly look at this. So, majority did, and pretty much everyone, all the lead lap cars, blocked down the pit lane. Cole Rodriguez winning the race off pit lane with Gibson second and LaPrat third. Top 3 remaining unchanged. Coming to the choose cone. Cole takes inside, Gibson outside, LaPrat outside, Clements inside. I'm not saying that this is the last restart, because overtime is possible here. Hence why the ticker says 105 laps instead of the scheduled 100. And whenever the leader has control from the inside, we see a bit of a struggle trying to take off, but ultimately it pays off by the time they exit too. And that's what Cole Rodriguez is trying to bank on. If not, clear the 21 car before turn 1. Pace car heads in. Cole Rodriguez versus Stephen Gibson. 3-lap shootout. And we are green. 21 with a barrel launch, but here comes Clements with a push. And the 92 is going to get loose behind, but they are still side by side for the race lead. Gibson gets clipped again. It's the second time within the last 20 laps that the 21 car is sent sideways through turns 1 and 2. But it's only a single car accident and no wreck. Oh, now it is, because a wreck happened towards the back. That is Tyler Aziz up against the outside wall. Dylan Negron with heavy rear end damage. William Gregory and chat. We are going to overtime. So all the scramble to get by Gibson. 20 of Mantis Bell sends it 3 wide and clips the 77, who goes on side for a little bit. See what Tyler Z's had to see. Yeah, he gets clipped by Wells at the last possible second. He gets a friendly motion from Skylar Den as well. So, as they are currently on lap 100, we are going past the scheduled distance. So those extra 5 laps are going to come into use. So I think this is the 8th caution of the day now. But regardless, it's going to be the final one. As once they hit green, anything goes. There will not be another caution period. There's only one attempt at overtime. Cole Rodriguez has the race lead with Dunlap at P2, Joshua Clemens P3, Riley Trawick P4, Zach Armstrong in 5th, Carl Childress 6th, Stephen Gibson P7, Chukashu Nome P8, Eric Crawford in 9th, and Dragons in P10. Choose cone. This is the final time they'll get to do so. Cole Rodriguez trusting the inside lane and hopefully gets through turns 1 through 1 and 2 without contact. Which we might as well check on them while we're still pacing here. So this is replay. 21 slides up and tries to come back down to make the corner, but the 91 was already there. It was already a car width out of the groove. So really a racing deal, honestly. Overtime and BPNR. 2-lap shootout. The field is in control of Cole Rodriguez. And Dunlap Pratt trying to go for win number 4 this season. Row 2 has Joshua Clemens robbed of race wins the past 2 weeks. He's trying to get win number 1 this season, with Riley Trawick trying to search for her first career BPNR win. Rack him up one more time and the final time. And we are on the way. The 91 with wheel spin. And Trawick plays nice for now. But LePrat is going to get the race lead from the outside. Clement smacks the wall. They wreck towards the back. We'll look at that later. Through 3 and 4. Cole Rodriguez has one more chance to get back at LePrat. And just what a resume this driver has put up this season alone. 3 wins already, including last week at Ricky. And now out for 4. Dunlap Pratt, win number 4 in South Carolina. And despite what the race has told us about the number 3 car, he's just there when it matters most. And he will continue to extend his points lead. The only racetrack, the only venue to save this county. Burnouts from Dunlap Pratt as he wins here at Darlington. The same song and dance for the number 3 Chevrolet team. And what a celebration at that. Getting himself an overtime win. Let me save replay actually before I do anything. I believe I can do this finally. If we can. The people behave for once. Donna Brad wins with Cole Rodriguez P2, Joshua Clemens in third, Steven Gibson in P4 with Larry Trawick getting a top 5, Zach Armstrong in P6, Dragons in 7th, Dylan Negron in 8th, Tyler Z's P9, and Alexander Hunt completing the top 10. And it is Chico Shurinome 11th, with Daniel Rodriguez in 12th, Matt Tisbells 13th, Harry Crawford P14, Joe Shmuda 15th, Nicholas Bedemlik in 16th, William Gregory 17th, Jolene Sims 18th, Skylar Den 19th, and Carl Childress completing top 20. Then is Kirsten Bell after the massive wreck takes her out of the race, and she joins Brandon Carter, Landon Lau, Jelani Howell, Karen McElreath, and Rosa de la Cruz as the DNFs for tonight. Out of 26 cars. This race was really hectic. And we do have interviews. Just give me a minute. Alright, let's bring in our race winner.
User was moved to your channel.
Don LaPrade, do you got me?
Yep, I do.
It seems like nothing is preventing you from winning. It's like the seas parted in this race. And in an overtime, you ended up passing Cole Rodriguez for the win.
Yeah, I had a really good run tonight. I was just trying to be I was just trying to be more conservative with my tires. At least try to. I know that a lot of drivers were on different strategies, so um, worked out for me to get to that stage. Win halfway, win. Um, Got through the pit stops just fine. I felt like that if it weren't for that caution with um if it weren't for that caution right there, I think I would have been in a pretty good shot to have a chance to win there. But unfortunately that caution came out, so I had to get to work and then pick the inside on that restart, and I fell back to I think fourth in 2 laps. So that was a mistake that I made not to choose the inside. And um I thought I might have had a shot with uh Cole there, but I got really loose and smacked the wall. Then Jolene spun, and that brought out the caution. So it was going to be like what, a 4 lap shootout, 3 lap shootout. So I knew that I was in a really good position to, if I don't get the win, at least I would have a good chance to get a really solid finish. And then that caution came out. Steven got into the wall with the deal with Cole. Both of them collided with one another. And then on that final restart, I saw that Cole Rodriguez went down. I was thinking to myself, if he chooses the bottom here, and if I could just run up top, I knew then that I would have a pretty good shot to win, because it seemed like that the outside, you just be able to carry a lot more speed, be able to pinch people down pretty well as you go through turns 1 or 2. And that's exactly what happened, and worked out pretty well. I had to defend the lead from him and Joshua Clements and many others in those final 2 laps. Obviously, with how narrow Darlington is, a bit unpredictable, and tonight was certainly an unpredictable race. But luckily, I was able to not only be able to walk away with the win, but most importantly, just survive because it seemed like that everybody had their own issues tonight at some fashion or another.
Well, I would say your expectations for our next race, but at this rate, it's kind of just the same song and dance. You say one thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if you end up winning next week at DuCoin.
Man, I'm not particularly good on dirt tracks. I might get a good top five finish, if the best case scenario. But if I get really lucky and if everything went my way, I would maybe I'll have a shot to win. But dirt tracks is not really my it's not my strength, so to speak. Even though I do fairly well, just never seem to be able to mesh with dirt on it all pretty well. So. I'm not looking. I'm not interested in trying to win next week. I mean, if I get the chance, I mean, who's to say what will happen? If anything, I just, I think expect a top five finish and then just go on from there.
Only time will tell for next Tuesday. Congratulations on your fourth win this season. Thank you for joining me.
Yep, thank you, Victor.
User was moved out of your channel.
Man, I'm out of breath, but we do have one more.
User was moved to your channel.
Cole Rodriguez, do you got me?
I got you.
After a game crash early on, you rebounded to, unfortunately, another runner-up finish, and on top of that is behind the same driver. Talk us through your race.
It was a eventful race, I guess. I didn't have any practice. My first actual lap was my qualifying lap, and it put me like 12th or something. So it was really just all the race was just trying to get used to the car. But luckily, have experience with IFAR, and I was able to kind of combat that pretty well. It was making moves. I got up to the lead at one point, and as soon as I passed for the lead, then somehow for some reason my game tabbed out, and I hit the wall and kind of disconnected there. So that kind of put me at the back, and just kind of made my way up through, and kind of tried out a strategy there. Was hoping for a caution, and it worked out. Got my track position back, and then kind of racing for the lead there. Got into Steven, which was unfortunate, and I don't know, kind of it was my fault, but track narrowed up and was just trying to keep the lead. I was honestly really trying to figure out which line was better because I was debating inside versus outside, and initially I was going to go outside, but it ended up going inside just because I didn't want to be caught on the outside off of turn two. And I picked it both times, and I guess it backfired both times. So, but I mean, that's what you get racing the top guys like that. They're going to be going all out and going really, really hard. And yeah, I mean, it sucks finishing second. I am appreciating all the hard racing, and I'm glad that we came out second. But it kind of sucks finishing behind Dunn again. When honestly, I didn't think I had any business winning this race, but towards the end, it kind of started falling apart, and it was unfortunate to see it go. But we have other tracks coming up, and I'm hoping to get a win at some point this season. But we'll see what I can do.
Well, you mentioned the experience from IFR, and assuming they keep the same version, do you take any of these lessons you had to learn the hard way and apply it to Saturday's race?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly can. It's a lot of it was which line you chose and how you made your moves, and especially off of turn two, it was kind of the problem corner for most of the race with most people slapping the wall and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, I mean that and tire wear. Tire wear was a really big thing, and it's kind of really just depending on who you're racing around and how many cautions come out. Because if the cautions fall at the right times and you get a lot of cautions, then you really don't need to save as much as you would if you went a long run. Because usually in IFAR you tend to get more longer runs based on the driving standards, and that would definitely, I believe, would suit me if I'm knowing that and can go for a long run. But at the same time, if I'm trying to do that in this league, when I know there's going to be a lot of cautions, then I'm just going to keep falling back and not really gaining much. So it's really just a fine balance trying to decide how fast you actually want to push your pace. But yeah, definitely lessons learned, and we'll move on to next week.
And next week, well, we go to Darlington, which is a 1 mile dirt track. Any dirt track specialties up your sleeve?
That's a good question. I was half decent at this track on my old wheel, but I upgraded to like a newer wheel, and last season, I don't know if it wasn't that I had a lot of practice last season or for some reason, but I was not the best there. Like I just couldn't find the race pace, so I'll probably end up doing a couple testing laps just to see what kind of time I can get. But it's definitely going to be, unfortunately, probably going to be one of the more struggle tracks. But I do love ripping the top, and if the top line works, then I can possibly get something going there, and hoping for at least a top 5 to keep the championship tight.
Well, hopefully you get that top 5, but I do want to assure you that BPNR win is coming. It's just a matter of better execution. Congratulations on your runner-up tonight. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for streaming.
User was moved out of your channel.
Alrighty. No one else wants to come in, so we shall wrap up. Tomorrow, BPNR hits the Darlington as well. That'll be a different track model, so I don't suppose any expertise from tire saving stats tonight will carry over to tomorrow. Thursday heads to Trenton Speedway for CCRS action. That'll be 8:25. Friday, we're back in business for Budweiser Cup Series. They head to Richmond, covered here per the usual. Gnarl heads to Willow Springs, I want to call it a dead California track, but it's one of those tracks where it doesn't get utilized too often. That'll be covered on G's Food Media. I'm hoping to commentate that because I'm really intrigued on it. Then Essex, continuing the Darlington theming going on this week. They'll have their race Friday night at 11:55. As for BPNR, next Tuesday we got dirt track action, and you better not be surprised if I just start gloating about the track and my really good expertise here. So you got a lot to expect for next Tuesday. But yeah, I'm tired. Rest up before tomorrow's stream.